soul to soul, soul to soul. Soul to soul, 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 soul to soul.
Welcome to our show, Soul to Soul Talk Show. We've been sharing great experiences with Sister Leela. So, welcome to the show, Sister. So, have you ever dreamt or imagined in your dreams that you're going to have any relationship with God?
No, I mean, who would? I think, we've been misguided about who is God and whether or not it's possible to have a relationship by a few general ideas. One is the idea that God is omnipresent. You can't have a relationship with something that is everywhere. So this understanding of what is omnipresence has really clouded our understanding of what is this supreme power, who it is. Because if God is everywhere, like I was saying earlier, how can there be suffering in the world? And how can you have a relationship with the chair, everything? It's not possible. Where this has come from is that we can be anywhere. We can be in India, we can be in London or throughout the world and have a relationship with God. Because we have to turn inside to have that relationship. And of course, all the religions teach that you have to go through somebody. In the Christian religion, which I come from, the heads of the church are all called Father. So we have to go through the Father. And that is fine. There's nothing against that. Everyone has their own path. But in meditation, we like to think that we have a two-way connection, a two-way relationship, a two-way chit-chat. I give and I experience. And so this is how this relationship built. Of course, I never imagined it was possible, because until I actually experienced it, I thought it was something only for the Pope or for very enlightened souls who've been sitting in a cave all their lives and doing tapasya and also I'm a woman. So in many parts of the world, they say that women can't have a relationship with God. Well, my experience tells me that's not true.
But how?
How? The entry into knowing God is to know myself. And when I understand that I am a spirit, a pure soul, when I know that I am not this body, I'm not Leela, actually of this age, of South African origin, but I'm a soul that has been born in different times, in different bodies, and this soul is immortal. When I recognize this, that this soul sits inside the brain, my third eye opens. And the third eye is a window. It's a window to God's world. So I start there. And in that way, I am made in God's likeness. I am a soul, and He is a soul, but also a supreme soul. So until we know that, there can't really be any relationship if I think He's, everywhere. It's not possible. So I have to tune in a sense, to His frequency. And His frequency is the frequency of peace, the frequency of love. And when I'm experiencing that, I know I've tuned in. And then behind that comes knowledge also, truth. And truth at a spiritual level starts to bring truth into my everyday life, my physical world also. So spiritual isn't just confined to the inner life, it's also entering my daily activities, my relationships, everything really.
Do you think the people who meditate and who are in a spiritual field, are they self-centered?
We're often accused of being self-centered. My friends were saying, "Oh, you're going off to contemplate your navel," you know. But the reverse is true, actually. Yes, the first step is to improve myself and to really focus on what I need. So it seems that I become self-absorbed. But what happens is, very often in spiritual life, this paradoxes work. When I think more about myself and improving myself, what happens is I automatically become more eligible to help others, more qualified. Because the more experienced I become, the more I recognize how I can help others. There's a saying in India that only the bag of the jaggery knows how sweet is the jaggery inside it. And you know, only when we grow ourselves do we become eligible or qualified to share our experience and benefit others. So it may seem that it starts off like that, but there's always the awareness that as I progress, others around me are also going to progress. Yeah. And in fact, the further you go along this path, the less you think of yourself, in fact. You know, in the end, once we're not empty anymore, once the bag becomes full of sweetness, let's say, then we don't need anything. There are no desires. I don't think of myself so much, other than what do I need to do right now in this moment that can benefit me and others. So we move very much away from the neediness, the desires of selfishness, to actually eventually philanthropy and selflessness, and only God is actually altruistic, but we become closer to that. Yeah, and it's a very liberating feeling, as I was saying before. It's a very nice feeling.
Or do you really think so that it's not on a superficial level?
My answer is, how can it be? Because in a way, the very nature of spirituality means that there is an underlying journey going underneath the superficial level that's always there. And most of us are living only on a superficial level. I mean, it's very well known what is on that superficial level. Cars, material possessions, we all know this. We may know that they're not so good for us, but we still pursue them at one level or another. But deeper than this is actually where I become the creator of my world. I become the creator of my future. And there's very much in the world now a trend, a fashion of the law of attraction, the law of manifestation. I have to think positively and I'll get something. But if it's not in alignment with my deeper true self, you know, I could line the walls of my house with pictures of a Ferrari, but I'll never get a Ferrari if it's not really suiting me. It's really about attracting to me that which is going to bring benefit not only to me, but to the world. We actually become so broad-minded that we think about the world when we do things. Our local environment, our bigger environment, and it all starts with a single step that I can take. What can I do today? What can I do now? So this is all starting, this law of attraction. It's now, as I said, being widely taught that it begins with focus, revising in my mind what I want, and this will bring it. They say revision brings vision. And this is true. You know, what comes into our mind, we eventually become qualified to achieve that, especially with the power of meditation behind it. It makes it much more clear and powerful. So this manifests much more readily. But the trick is, you know, if we're aiming for superficial things, we may get them, They may come to us, but they won't be long lasting and they won't bring us happiness.
Yeah, they won't stay forever.
That's it. And what we need to do now is to change things that are going to change forever.
So, being in spiritual knowledge, do you really think so that contentment is the last level?
The last level, contentment. I believe that contentment is definitely one of them, but I believe that there are other things that come along with it. Along with contentment comes love. And along with that comes peace. Because unless there's peace, you're not really contented. Unless you have love and you're giving love, we're not really contented. So I think when we gain that level of contentment where we can say, yes, I am constantly content, then I can say, actually, I'm constantly peaceful. I'm constantly truthful. I'm constantly experiencing love in my life. So I think they all come together. You know, there's another theory that's out there at the moment, which is about how different experiences have different vibrational levels. They're talking about at the bottom of this level, of this strata of different vibrational frequencies, is shame and guilt. And then as it goes up, we become more virtuous and the vibrational frequency goes up. So they put love at about 500 and they put enlightenment at about 900. But I think actually we don't love totally until we have total alignment. I think all of these things come up together. But certainly at one level you can start to experience this love. If it's 500, I trust that they've made their measurements correctly. But compassionate love for the whole of humanity would only come together with that enlightenment. And what's interesting about this is that if you have within you shame or guilt at this lower level vibration of 30, minus 40 or whatever, you can't reach those upper levels because this vibrational level is always pulling you down. So we need to remove these. And so part of this question that you asked me earlier about our self-absorption and our concentration on ourselves is to remove these things from ourselves. And this is our effort, if you like. This is what our study does. We're learning all the time, and as we learn, we remove these, and then we move closer and closer towards contentment.
Oh, sister, it's very easy to talk or listen about, virtues and values. How hard or easy is it to imbibe that in oneself? And how long it took you to do that?
Well, actually, this is the crux of what frightens people away from a spiritual life, because we need daily attention, daily practice. And when most people hear this, they usually run. But if people realize the amount of energy that you get every day from actually making a commitment every day to make a change, then you really see the results. And in fact, it started straight away. I started changing straight away, but I had a lot of changing to do, so it's taken me a long time. But still, every day I'm learning something. And, compared to where I was, I wouldn't give up any of it. In fact, I said that I came in 1984, and for 28 years I've been practicing this. But honestly, my pathway has been up, down, around. Sometimes I've just stepped out for a while and then come back again. Now, the more I do this, the less likely I am to step out or go down or go round, because the loss of time and just energy, and you find that the more that we don't focus on such things, the more we get led away, in a sense, from our own contentment. And so, yes, I would say these values and virtues are very real, and I know this from my own experience. I'm genuine when I have good wishes for people. I really do see the best in people. If I see a weakness in somebody, I don't react to it. I don't think negatively about that person or judge them. And it's taken me some years to get to that place, but it's worth it, and it's real. It does happen. I mean, it's...
So people who gain spiritual knowledge, and so I guess they don't have that higher aim. So is it true?
If you're looking through worldly glasses, in a way, to people who don't follow a spiritual life, they think you're giving up so much, like you're giving up your ambition for a career. But actually, I would counter that by saying that the highest aim you can possibly have is perfection. People look and laugh and say, you really think you can aim for perfection? And I can honestly say I've met yogis who are very close to perfection. In my eyes, they are perfect, but they assure us they still have a...
What kind of perfection is that?
Perfection, and they have no negative thinking, not even... Forget negative thinking, they don't even have any ordinary thoughts or even any wasteful thoughts of any kind. They only have elevated thoughts. They're very powerful. They don't have any waste time. They are constantly content. And they only have benevolence in their drishti. And they bring benefit to everyone who comes in their contact. And, you know, the proof of this life is that it's not one guru. It's not two. There's a whole family of people who are proving that this is an ascending flow, an ascending path. And this really gives hope to the rest of us when you see how many, each in their own special way, through their own speciality, are achieving their own level of perfection. And this is the proof of God's power.
So there's a proverb in English that there's nobody else perfect than God. So is it true?
Yes, ultimately. However, the journey of the soul is that when we attain that perfection, then we leave this world as it is at the moment, because this world is imperfect. You know, you have in Indian mythology Krishna, for example. And the idea of Krishna or Lakshmi and Narayan, let's say, cannot exist in a world that is impure. You would never find a Krishna here or a Lakshmi and Narayan here, mythologically speaking, let's say. So this world is a reflection of us, and the world that we have around us is a reflection of ourselves. And once we become perfect, we won't stay here in the world as it is anymore. Where we go is another story, but...
What is the ultimate aim for you after coming into this spiritual knowledge?
Now, when I was 23, somebody asked me, you know, because I didn't know what I wanted in life. I didn't know where I was going. And he suggested that I made a list of all the different things I wanted, whether it meant being an air hostess or a gardener or whatever, and then to condense these down to 3 things. And I condensed them down to 3 things, but I didn't, in my wildest dreams, imagine that I would get them or fulfill them in this life. And the first one was to come to know God. The second was to gain wisdom and understanding. And the third was to bring benefit to humanity. And these were just, you know, I didn't imagine that any of them were possible. But I can honestly say, as I sit here now, all 3 of them are not only possible, but I'm experiencing them. So, yes, that would be my ultimate calling, is to lead a meaningful life, where at the end of it I can say, yes, I did all I could, I did my best, and it's been a wonderful life. I've experienced it to the full, and I have many people who love me, and I love them, and it's all been very worthwhile.
Sister, we had a great conversation with you. Whatever aim you have in your life, I personally feel that you should achieve that. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a great day, viewers.